So the Little Dead Wagon has kind of been an ongoing change. And so from what I had envisioned originally to where it is even right now is different. The basic structure of it is the same. It's a great big Hemi in the back of an A100, and it's painted red, and it, you know, got a little dead wagon going onto it and all that stuff. But the stainless steel inside was more of an afterthought. Originally when I did it, I thought I would do body and paint work inside of there. But as we started running out of time for SEMA, and that date kept creeping forward, I thought, you know, the stainless would look pretty good, and it will. But it also saves me on my end a lot of time. The body and the paint that we'd have to do inside there would be an enormous amount of time. Frankly, we just didn't have that time. So the kit from Yogi's for the bed floor, I believe, is for a regular 8-foot bed. That doesn't leave us a lot of extra wood and a lot of extra stainless. It does leave us some. But what we've got to be careful of is making sure that when we make our cuts that we don't overcut. You can't put wood back on. You can keep taking it off, but you got to be careful when you make your measurement and you make your cut. Now at the same time that you've got this specific piece of wood that needs to be, say, 54 inches long, maybe it only needs to be 4 inches wide, and originally it's a 6-inch wide piece. So then we have to do a radial cut or a lineal cut down. That's where guys like Royal come in, because he's done a lot of woodwork, and so was our new greenhorn. But when you're done, you've got to be able to stack this tongue and groove in together with the stainless steel separators. They also have to be precision cut. You cut too far, you can't put it back on there. With no time left for SEMA, it's just a very crucial time, even though we're rushing, and normally you can make compromises in a rush. This stuff, you have to stop, take your time, not just double measure, triple, quadruple measure. You need to make sure it's right. I always measure wrong. You learn that these little hands are the best things you can do. I mean, you can take a tape measure to it, you can use a block of wood, you can take papers and roll them up, but the fact is, your fingers are pretty much the same on each hand, unless you're Dougie. God only knows what he's got. I can measure, I could take a 2x4 that's 4 foot long, get another one, stand it up next to it, make a mark on it, and cut it, and it would be shorter. Why? Because I cut on the wrong side of the blade, Royal says. So that's why I'm not doing it. There is no room for that kind of stuff. No Mark Warmanisms in this one. You know, I watch a lot of car shows. I spent the last 15 years watching great shows like Overhauling. And I always thought to myself, that's a crock, man. Nobody's under that kind of pressure. But they can be. They're under that pressure. And in this situation where you got SEMA just right around the corner, and we're just now starting to put a bed floor in, it's so important that we don't make any mistakes, because we can't next day out a whole nother kit that weighs 300 pounds, right? We have to take our time, but at the same time, one small mistake throws the whole game over. What are you going to put on the floor? Some carpet? And throw some shag carpet in there, call it a 70s unit? So yeah, you do have to make the right cuts, and you have to make them every single time. When I bought the little A100, I knew that it was going to be a Little Dead Wagon. Check it out. It's been a long process. Got a lot of time into it. A lot of time it just sat because we had other cars that we were working on. Also deciding exactly how I wanted it to look, making sure I had the right vendors lined up on a project like this, because I've never really done a subframe like we had to do on this one. That's a lot of head scratching, that's a lot of thinking, because it's not just cosmetic. If we don't do something right underneath there, somebody dies. Who's going to build the engine? Where are you going to get the engine? Who's going to build the transmission? Where are you going to get the transmission? The rear end, all these things. When you add them up and you sit down with a pen and paper and you start getting things coordinated, it takes a long time to build a car. And it's just a shame that all that prep and all that time and all those dedicated hours still come down, no matter how hard you try, to that last murderous week, hell week, where you're just doing back-to-back suicide shifts trying to knock one of these things out. Maybe one day we'll have a perfect system and won't have to do that, but right now, I don't know any way to avoid it.